Hello, friends, and welcome into the Hot Read Podcast live for one final time here on the 440 Sports Podcast Network. I am your host, JT Ruhnke, reporter and writer, covering the Tennessee Titans. Not for 440 much longer, but somewhere else that I, just like my former co-host Stoney said, you cannot say his new venture yet. I myself cannot either. Part of the 440 Sports Podcast Network here, the Hot Read Podcast, brought to you by ML Rose and Sinkers Beverages. As always, it's been a while, friends, since we've talked, and the last time we talked, it was a goodbye to Stoney, and sorry to give everybody whiplash, but it is also now goodbye to me as well. Over the past couple of weeks, things have turned, twist and turn to the point where I was offered to take the next step in my career in sports media. And it is one that I could not say no to, which obviously means I will be leaving the Hot Read Podcast as well. But we're doing one final episode here to say our goodbyes and close this chapter of the Hot Read Podcast that isn't ending, my friends. More on that a little bit later. Once again, thank you to our sponsors, ML Rose and Sinkers Beverages. We're going to just kind of relive some of our greatest moments here, talk to you guys in the chat, answer any questions about the Titans and training camp upcoming next week, because that's right around the corner, and reminisce with some of our former guests and whatnot. And one of those, of course, is none other than my friend here, Stoney Keeley. Stoney, long time no see here on the channel, but
I know.
Good to talk to you one final time here as we both kind of go our separate ways. I don't know why I said special. It is special, but
it is special.
Sure. Good to see you here today. Eddie in the comments as well with us, saying for one final time, good evening, lads. Says he's got to be in the Broadway Sports Media chat for this one. Happy retirement to this channel. Yes, indeed. It is technically, I guess, the retirement of that channel as well. Enjoyed the show today, however you would like to. But if you want to keep with the show and keep at it, you can join us in the 440 Sports YouTube channel. Yes, he heard that JT's guests today are quite handsome, and it is indeed.
Wow.
You. Andrew saying he heard the same. Eddie saying, is it the same venture? No, it is not the same venture, and yet we both cannot still tell you about them, which is very frustrating, I bet, for all of you, but exciting for us. Derek says he feels abandoned and he wants to dislike this one so bad because I don't want the hot read to end. I know, as Wyatt says, don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened. Wyatt saying, shout out JT, living the dream. Happy for you, my guy. Thank you, Wyatt. I appreciate you there. Tommy H saying, press F to pay respects. Wyatt saying, hot read many times there. Hell of a last dance, fellas, here. Basically today's show, just wanted to get in here, kind of tell you guys what's going on, the situation with Hot Read and my own personal adventures, and kind of just relive some of these moments while also giving you kind of a little bit of a preview of Titans training camp. There are some loose ends that myself, Stoney, and if our other third special guest ever decides to join the program, which I imagine he will. He's fashionably late as always. And he'll be calling in apparently from a field somewhere, but just wanted to get on here
from a field
and say, apparently that's what he told
like
me.
He's a football field, or is he like out?
I think he's in like a cornfield. Is what I heard. Okay. However, just didn't feel right, leaving our last episode as it was. Wanted to get on here one last time, talk a little bit of Titans, and then, as Eddie said, give us a 21 gun salute for this glorious pod. Yeah, so essentially what happened, Stoney got his awesome new offer about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, officially. So that marked his end, and then things very much happened quickly after that for me. And during that break, that hiatus, trying to figure some things out, eventually got this offer and just had to take it for where I am in my career, which led us to 2 back-to-back goodbye episodes here Now, for the podcast going forward, the hot read, from what I have learned, it is by all means not dead, not going anywhere. Still probably on hiatus as Braden and the 440 network team work their couple things out over there. But this show, I am led to believe, will still be here, although it will not have myself, Stoney, or anybody else that you have come to know and love on here as co-hosts, maybe potential guests, but we are all heading our separate ways. And Derek, trying to live in this denial. Change is good, but it is hard. And I understand you are grieving, Derek. But without further ado, let's get into a couple training camp loose ends that Stoney had.
Okay.
One that I wanted to get to the bottom of, and maybe I'll try to bait our third guest into coming here. A very, very short show for you guys today. But of course, Titans training camp starts next week. And with that, it's going to be finally time for Cam Ward to put it all together. Kind of what we talked about, the couple previous shows ago. We were talking about how the entirety of the OTA and offseason cycle was to try to let Cam experiment and things like that. And now it is finally time to put it all together. How is that going to look? How is that connection going to click? Is it going to be immediate? Is it going to take a little bit of time? That's yet to be seen. But I think one of the biggest things that we need to kind of figure out the root of an issue with before we get into camp is that lingering question that we had, right? The question that, why is Cam Ward, the one thing that makes him just, concerns you is how the timing of throws and things like that. And I think, Stoney, you wanted to come on here and hypothesize potentially a solution to that or a reason behind that, so we can tie that question up as we go our separate ways, and we not necessarily, stop asking that question, but doing it so on different channels and ways of talking to you guys across the Twitterverse, the YouTube space, the Titans sports media space. Stoney, have you found an answer to that question?
I have, yeah. So it's been a recurring thing for us. You and I have both mentioned it several times. There are times on Cam Ward's tape that the throw is a little bit behind the receiver. The receiver has to turn and adjust to a back shoulder catch. You and I talked about maybe having someone on the show to break it down. That kind of fell through. It didn't work. So I did a little of my own digging to talk to somebody that I do feel is qualified to answer this question. And I presented the question, hey, what's going on here? Why does he only seem to miss behind receiver slightly? Because you would think, like you and I have brought it up before too, is like if it's a general accuracy problem, you would see balls out in front of guys too far. You would see low balls. You would see high balls. You would see balls all over the place. There's a sound bite you can clip. So I went to my source and I said, what's the deal with that? And this is the response I got. He sees space so well that sometimes it's to protect a wide receiver from another defender inside. So it is like seeing the safety or the linebacker coming over the middle before that person's even there yet. So like seeing it shape up and develop in real time, anticipating and throwing the ball so that he doesn't get his wide receiver killed. That's one explanation for it. My source added, some quarterbacks, Cam included, have a way to keep the ball from popping up off of wide receivers. So if he misses, the ball falls down off the body. Sometimes that's intentional. So to think about it in another term, to like put that into an example, if he throws the ball on the money, maybe it's a tight window throw, there's another defender inside, it hits the receiver in the hands, can't make the catch, the ball ricochets off the receiver's hands, goes up into the air and down into the hands of the defender. A throw on the back shoulder that hits the shoulder pads is more likely to just die and fall to the ground. So in a way, it is essentially protecting the ball in those potentially tight window throws where you don't want, there's a lot of traffic around and you don't want that ball ricocheting off the receiver's hands and coming down in the arms of the defender. So I thought that was a very thoughtful and illuminating answer to a question that you and I have been asking for months on this show at this point.
It makes a lot of sense too, because you think about how Cam Ward in his motion and his process is. We've heard from guys like Ayu Manor and a lot of these other guys, right? They've talked about how you're not waiting for Cam. You have to catch up to Cam. Those types of things. I think, with the level of talent that he's played with throughout college, it's fair to say that I think some of that also falls on some of the other guys getting, going from place to place, not having that much connection with him. And hopefully you see that connection, that they've tried to build over the last, 3 months or so, working out with Cam and these new receivers. You hope that is kind of the trial period. But I do also think we talk about last year, right, with Will Levis and such a staunch difference, right? The amount of this idea of hospital balls that Will Levis could throw or quarterbacks sometimes throw. I do think that answer is super insightful that, we talk about Cam Ward's processing and what he has between the ears as something so special that made him worthy of that number 1 pick, that it makes total sense to kind of reason with why it may be behind some of these receivers. Well, it may be because Cam's also processing what the receiver is going to have to do with the ball after he throws it, right? And I think that is something that wide receivers themselves may not comprehend yet with Cam, or have not been able to throughout their time at Miami and Washington State and those types of places, right? And even through the first part of training camp. And I think that's all part of the process. So I think that is a very plausible answer. Now, how do they go about fixing that, I think is the next question. And that, once again, is going to have to be the connection we see pretty much immediate in camp. It has to happen a lot faster than it ever did with Will Levis and Calvin Ridley and all those guys last year. Do I have more faith that it will happen this year than I did last year? Yes, absolutely. Just because of what we've learned over the last 3 or 4 months or so. But it still does have to happen one way or another. As Logan, good to see you one final time, getting a final dig in, I guess, at Easton, who is not here. Paul also saying 2 absolute titans of Titans media. For someone on the other side of the globe, it's awesome to get thoughtful and focused Titans commentary for you both, onwards and upwards for both of you. We appreciate the kind words there. We'll be tagging along wherever you go.
Thank you, Paul.
Kenneth saying, is Stoney able to answer if his new offer will have him out at training camp? I don't know, Stoney, will it? Or is that something you can talk about?
I think I think it could if I wanted it to, but I don't know that I'll be able to make it work.
I see.
With my schedule.
Perhaps we'll see you out there at the event that everybody can attend in a week and a half, the Titans Back Together event, which I think is happening next Saturday. I will be out there. Maybe I will see some of you guys out there as well. Maybe I'll see you out there, Stoney. But nonetheless, yes, Titans training camp is around the corner. And you were saying before I so rudely interrupted you.
Yeah, I was just going to say the term I used for the back shoulder, well, not back shoulder, they're not back shoulder throws, the throws that are behind the receiver for Cam, is that in some of those instances, I think they are just misses. But I think for the most part, those are accurately inaccurate throws. I think there's a lot of that is intentional.
I think that's absolutely fair to say. And I think that puts a big bow on one of the leading questions that we had throughout this entire offseason. And I think
we get closure
is a good way to put it. Derek says he's going to root for a different team because of this. Here's the thing, right? And I think, we talk about loose ends. We're going to be around, and to kind of tie up this loose end on the Hot Read podcast, we're still going to be around. As I said in my tweet last week, Stoney will still very much be around doing weekly Titans content. I will still be around doing probably more weekly Titans content than I've done ever before, which is super exciting. So, the people are still going to be around, even though there is not a place like this that is going to kind of foster this type of community that we've built over the past, whether it be Stoney, whether it be Easton, whether it be myself over the last 3 years, the people that we've been able to connect with. Like, I promise we'll still be around in these live streams. We'll see the same names. We know who you guys are. We'll still be able to answer your questions and talk ball with you guys every single week. And I think it's exciting. And that kind of leads me to the last section of today's show, which is just how thankful I think myself, and I imagine Stoney is as well, for the last year and a half or so that we have been able to bring this content. I remember last year at this time when Easton was leaving the show, felt very much like I did not know if this was going to work out anymore. And I remember saying to myself, I would be, punching myself over and over again if I didn't at least try. And that's when Stoney was brought on, and we have kind of made this into something I didn't even imagine it could get to. And just kind of goes to show how much we appreciate all of you guys in the chat every single Tuesday and Friday, going through probably one of the worst Titans seasons imaginable with us. That's something I will never forget, and I'm sure Stoney won't either, but I just cannot say it over and over again. We appreciate everything that you guys have done for us over the last year and a half. Like I said, we don't do this just because you guys show up. We do it because we love to do it. And that the fact that you guys do continue to show up is what makes it so special and a gift, and very appreciative of everything that we've done over the last 3 years at the Hot Read podcast. Very sad to see it go, I would say. But I think, change happens, and you don't like it, but it does happen. And I'm super excited for the next steps in both of our careers. And we will be around, like I said, throughout the entirety of Cam Ward's inaugural season and throughout this entirety of this next chapter for the Tennessee Titans. As for, like I said, what's going on with the Hot Read podcast, it's not dead yet. I know they have some things in the work that, I can't talk about, don't want to promise anything or overpromise or under-deliver on what they have planning, but I know that this show is very much in their future. So if you are a fan of the 440 Sports Podcast Network, stay tuned. The football show will still be here. The Paul Kaharski podcast will still be here. And the Hot Read podcast will still be here. Kenneth saying, grateful to both of you for the awesome Titans content you provided, especially to JT for earning me some money by being wrong so often. Listen, hey, I mean, I imagine that if you just DM me on Twitter, I will continue to be wrong. So it's not like you will not, you still have the chance to win more money if you'd like to. Just hit me up in the DMs, I suppose. So I am excited for our next adventure. Wyatt did say, wait, you've got to redo the send-off in the shirt. I don't know if I have the shirt readily available to me.
Oh man, that would be fitting though.
It would be fitting. I'm sorry I cannot deliver on that promise, Wyatt. But before we get out of here, Stoney, your favorite moment on the Hot Read podcast?
And it's I was trying to think of that while we were recording, and I don't know. I think the first thing that popped into my head was the episode we did after the Dolphins game where they got the win, but it was horrible. It was awful. It was ugly. I believe it was the first time I uttered the words player acquisition cycle, because even though they won and everybody was hyped and they were thinking, oh, they're going to get back into this, I watched that game and I thought, this team sucks. This team is going nowhere. And I just remember laughing at the episode later that week because that was the moment last year where I kind of threw my hands up and said, this team's cooked. This team is done. They just need to get to another player acquisition cycle. Drink. And it started a fun little bit here on the Hot Read as well. I'd also say I'd like to shout out ML Rose. I think it's really cool. I don't know about you, JT, but I've gotten several messages and DMs from people that have said, They went to ML Rose because of us, and they had a great experience out there. I'll say there's still a good chance that if you go out to the Mount Juliet ML Rose on a Friday night, you will probably see me and my wife there at some point. We are early dinner people, so we'll be there before 7. You're welcome to come have a beer with me. My DMs are open as well. If you guys want to message me, I just met up with our buddy Eugene from the chat on Saturday. We grabbed some beers over the weekend as well. I'm happy to hang out when I can, when my schedule allows it. And I always want to give back to the people that have given me so much. And I'm grateful for this opportunity. And I'm grateful that you guys are interested in what we do here at Hot Read. And for you, JT, again, I'm incredibly proud of you. It's crazy to think back to 440 a couple of years ago when Zach's on a football show and you and Easton are doing the Hot Read, and I'm just in the comments like spamming the chat for every show that they're doing. And then we do this day 3 mega cast that gets all these views, and all these people are excited about it. And we didn't know if anybody was even going to tune in. And it's something that people still talk to me about to this day. And to think where the 4 of us would go on to move on to from there years later, it's kind of wild to think about. But I do think it's very hard earned and well deserved. And I'm happy for you, man.
I appreciate that. And same to you. I mean, that if I had a favorite memory, it is doing that mega cast. I remember sitting there for 8 hours straight, and I'm sure if I went back and I watched that 8 hours, I probably would be just as entertained, because it is some of the most fun I've ever done on podcasting / live streaming. I mean, it's hard for me to pick moments when you're on every single show. It's hard. They all just kind of blurred together. But I don't think there was ever a time that I, truly sat down and was like, I do not want to do this show today or anything.
Yeah.
It's always been just a gift. And, a lot of people love to talk sports, but there are only a few that really get to, cultivate an audience like this. And the fact that I have become one of them, kind of going from never even thinking about the possibility of doing this to now doing this. It's one of the things I am the most grateful for. And it's all because of you guys in the comments, all because of the people I've met here in the Nashville area, in the Titans media, who have taken me in, so to say, an outsider, and kind of seen me grown throughout the past couple of years. It's been an awesome ride. Kenneth says, my favorite memory will always be after the Patriots win and JT wanted to throw the players a pizza party. I imagine it's because they did the bare minimum, which was win the game. I think that's what it was. Logan saying JT is the Nick Saban. He is the great mind, and everyone poaches his guys hoping they are the next JT. I guess that could also work for Sean McVay. Right?
Yeah.
Until what happens when you poach the Sean McVay? Well, we saw what happened when the Dolphins poached Nick Saban. That was a disaster. And then Alabama poached Nick Saban from the Dolphins after he crashed and burned. So here's hoping my next place is not the Dolphins. Nick Saban.
To say, maybe we need to specify.
Yeah, it's been a such a fun ride, and we cannot thank you guys enough for all the memories over the year. I was trying to vamp a little bit to see if Easton was actually going to show up, but it sounds like he is somewhere in the middle of nowhere and has no connection, which is okay. He deserves, he's on his way to a beach somewhere, I think.
Oh, vacation season.
Yeah, it's vacation season.
Good for him.
So the fact that he even attempted, which I'm assuming he attempted, maybe that's giving him too much credit, but been holding out here, as Logan says. Maybe Easton being late is fitting, or maybe Easton not showing up at all is more fitting as well.
Is more fitting, yeah, absolutely.
Typical Easton. Shrike also bringing up the Easton fridge can't fit through the door. That was moment good. Is also one of the greatest ones of all time. Derek also saying, my friends, thanks for all the fun. Hopefully we'll have new memories somewhere else. Yes, and I'm excited to get to work in this new venture. As to when that is going to happen, I imagine it'll be announced in the next week or so, because as you all know, Titans training camp is right around the corner, and I'm gearing up to get ready to get back in the saddle and be, I think I've missed a little bit of this, doing this bi-weekly stuff, getting back in the saddle, just talking about any which way Titans content you can imagine. But it is, working smarter, not harder. It has helped circumvent the darkness of the dead period of the NFL season here. I'm sure one of the biggest things that we'll be talking about next week is Femi Oladejo's contract and the guaranteed money
Yeah.
and those things like that. That's going to be a big one next week, as well as our initial reactions to Cam Ward and getting the guys back together. Excited to do that in this next venture. Logan also saying, too busy eating shoe pizza. The shoe pizza is for those who really know, as well as Easton's taco moments. When we did
Easton's
Taco
Talk was really good. And I liked the live show that we did from Memo's Mexican Kitchen out here in Mount
Yes.
Juliet too.
We did that one for the Jamal Adams signing, which in retrospect was very, very funny.
What a time to be alive.
Yeah. But Cristoforo saying you guys always have the best content. We appreciate that. And we're going to do our best to bring the same type of content and the same personality that we are known for at our new ventures. And we're excited to do those. Shrike saying taco meme will never die. And if it does, that's on y'all. Like, it is your jobs to make sure that Easton never lives that down. On top of his new meme with the shades and whatnot.
The sunglass meme, yeah.
Yes, the sunglass meme. It's your guys' jobs, and it'll be exciting to see what other memes of Easton we can create this upcoming season. Logan saying Stoney and Pebble, the end of an era. And I think that is a great way to send it off. We appreciate, I can't say thank you enough, just over and over again, because that's really there all is to say. Just absolute gratitude that even for a 30-minute show where we just show up to talk about Cam Ward for 2 seconds and then say thank you, you guys are still here, which is crazy to see. But one final last thing, Stoney?
You know what, JT? Yeah, I do have one final thing. I have been Conor McGregoring with a dumbbell under the table this whole episode, and he makes it look so cool. It's just not working the same for me. I feel like I got to get out of here because something's about to rupture.
Okay, yeah, that's a great way to send it off. Stoney's chugging a beer as a send off here. This has been the Hot Read Podcast. One final time, we appreciate you guys being here with us, and until we're at our next place, you can find us all over Twitter at JT_Ruhnke, at Stoney Keeley on Twitter. This has been the Hot Read Podcast. We will talk to you someday down the line. Thanks, guys. We'll see you around.